Hi, I'm Ginny Robertson, the founder of the On Purpose Woman magazine, and this is Writer in the Spotlight. I'm talking with Kandi Leigh about her article, The Truth About Opposites Attract, in the March-April issue of On Purpose Woman magazine. So welcome, Kandi. I'm so glad you're here with
Thank
me
you so
today.
much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
I am too. It's a great article. And before we get started, though, I'd like you to tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and your work. What are you up to out there?
Okay, so I am a relationship coach with a twist. I like to say I'm a relationship genie in that I can help couples quickly shift out of the painful, draining dynamics that are, draining their relationship and help them shift back into a partnership that works for them. So I'm also an intuitive energy reader and a Reiki master teacher. And by understanding relationship energetics and being able to tune in and help read the energy of relationships and even help shift energies and create balance, I'm able to give couples these tools that they can then use and work with to help create more balance in their relationship.
That's pretty cool. That's different from your typical relationship coach, isn't it? So yeah, how did you come to that work?
Well, that is a good question.
I didn't tell you I was going to ask you that, did I?
I couldn't run away from it, I think was more what happened. I was on, where do I start with the Reiki part? I was on my own healing journey as far as my body had some issues I needed to heal. And I ended up even though I worked in Western medicine field, I ended up on a holistic health journey. And so once my physical body started finding relief, there were emotions and mental things that started stirring up. My brother passed away. I went on a grief journey. And that was when I connected to Reiki. And at that time, my own marriage started falling apart. And through that journey, I got actually recertified in Reiki. I got certified at 15, whole other story.
Wow.
And yeah, so I went through Reiki 1 and I was just like, wow, I forgot how powerful this is. And I just automatically knew I'm going to go into Reiki 2 and become a Reiki practitioner. And all through this, I was just really learning about relationships. And so then as I started in soulmate relationships and different types of soulmates and what it all means and what it means at the spiritual level. And, there's so much more to relationships than what we think, where two people just meet each other and they click or they don't, and they get along or they don't. And so as I started calling in clients who were always coming to me for relationships.
Okay. So your business
And
found you and grabbed you.
it really, really did. Because I also, read Oracle tarot cards. And so people are always coming to me for relationship stuff. And eventually it got to where I was able to see within every relationship that is connected, kind of committed, there's more than two people. There's the two people, there's a third entity. The relationship is its own entity. And I discovered I could talk to these relationships and get information, insight. So often we'll be blaming our partner for something that it might actually be a dynamic that still exists in the relationship, that if we can clear it out of the relationship, the two partners can create a better balance.
Wow, that's magical stuff.
Jeannie.
Yes, I get that. Well, in your article, and actually you talked a little bit, well, let's first say this. It's a series that you're doing, and the series is called, let's see, Relationship Soup, a recipe for better relationships. So why did you want to write this series? Let's get that out of the way first. Yeah.
Well, one, because I love writing. And somebody will ask me one little question and I can just go on and on talking about relationships and energetics. And, for me, relationships are the most valuable piece in life. They're what help us grow and evolve, learn about ourselves. And ultimately, everything is about the relationship we have with ourselves. But the fastest way to learn who you are is by connecting with other people.
Boy, that's the truth.
So relationships are so valuable. I mean, they're this, with our family, with friends that we choose, but then you've got your romantic partner. And what makes that so special is there's only, well, in general, we won't go into other communities, but in general, you're choosing one person.
Mm.
And that can create a lot of magic, and it can also stir up a lot.
Mm.
Because we
Yeah,
put a lot
my
of pressure
husband-
on
I used to say to my husband, and I don't have to say it anymore, but I used to say, I think we came together because we thought we'd healed all this stuff. And, now, and then I'm with somebody, and we've been together for 31 years. And all of a sudden I'm with somebody who's pushing buttons that I thought I had really healed from. And now they're raw and they're messy. And so, yeah, you want to put a mirror right up in front of your face, get in a serious committed relationship, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Let's talk about your relationship, because you've written, I think in a couple of the articles, you've touched on your relationship with your partner. But I think how you met is fascinating. If you give me like the cliff notes of that, because it's a beautiful story, which you can all read in the magazine. And the link to the magazine is in the text of this video, as well as the link to Kandi's website, where you can find out more about what she does. So tell me about that magical birthday night.
It truly is one of my favorite stories. So leading up to this night, again, I was on a journey to bettering the relationship I have with myself, creating that self-love. And I was just in this incredible space one night and had just my playful energy coming out, and decided I'm going to pretend it's my birthday because a friend asked me if I wanted to go out, see a band.
It wasn't really your birthday. Yes.
Wasn't really my birthday. I just said, I feel like pretending it's my birthday. I took cupcakes, had a party hat. The servers at the restaurant still remember me. So I'm at this place, and it's like I could feel something in the air, and felt this guy walk in. I was just in this very confident space. And I thought, if he wants to dance with me, he will. I love to dance. And so, we're dancing, here's the band. The band takes a break. They put on DJ style music, and I'm the girl who doesn't stop dancing. So I stay on the dance floor, keep dancing, and the song I Want to Dance with Somebody starts playing. And he steps in and starts dancing with me.
Wow. So you manifested that guy right up to that point, didn't you?
I really did.
And that was the beginning of something you wrote in the article, that 4 years after that magical night, we're still dancing together. It often feels like two magnets that can't come apart no matter how hard someone pulls, but sometimes we need our space. And we chatted a little bit before we started this live. I think sometimes when we realize that we need space, it can start to cause issues in the relationship. So what do we do about that when we realize we need our space? And how did you handle that? Did you both realize at the same time we need our space, or was it, how'd that come about?
No. Oh, you kind of touched on this before, and it's, we can be in this beautiful, magical space when we meet, but we can't always hold that balance. Sometimes these wounds start resurfacing. And so that's why it's important to have tools to know what to do when that happens. And about 6 months into our relationship, we couldn't hold it together, and we actually broke up.
Oh, okay.
And yet we couldn't fully split up. We just couldn't. We were just those magnets. But that helped clear a bunch of stuff out. We weren't the same two people when we came back together. Mm. So we came back together. Time goes on, lose our balance, broke up again. Same thing. We both cleared out a bunch of stuff. Just couldn't, and it wasn't like we dated other people or anything. We literally were just clearing stuff out. And I caught on, and I thought, I wonder if he and I, when we lose our balance, can get through it without having to break up.
Mm.
So then my son was exposed to COVID. So we quarantined from each other. I was like, oh, we're clearing stuff out. And I just started noticing sometimes the universe kind of creates this way that we end up with our space anyways. But now it's so much easier, just like, hey, I'm just going to get some alone time, or, life has really been working at it for us. And sometimes part of it is, and this goes into the last article I wrote before this one, attachment style. Often partners come together where one of us has abandonment wounds. We get really anxious, can't allow that space. And the other one's like, oh, I need space. And just after that cycle is repeated a couple of times, we trust we're coming back.
Right. Yeah.
We're coming back.
I can really relate to that because I think there were 3 different times, and anybody watching this who knows Dawn and me would probably be really surprised to hear this. But there were 3 really intense times that I thought we really were going to split, but we didn't leave the space. I mean, it's a little different. You own a house together and you got all this stuff going on, but we went into our separate corners. We just, like you said, you can do that and still stay in the same space. And every time we came back together, we were better. We were at a different level. And it was because we went to our corners and we did some work, or we talked with other people, or, got some help, or whatever we were doing. And it just was stronger every time we came back. Then it got to the point of, we don't even need to even have that conversation anymore. Right.
Yes. There are so many times now that when something erupts, we'll talk about it a little bit. We trust that each other's clearing out what we need to. And sometimes we don't even need to talk about it anymore because we know it's gone.
Yeah. And I remember saying to a friend of mine a number of years ago about, our relationship is just easy. It's just easy. And she got really kind of alarmed. She goes, well, you don't want to take that for granted. You don't want to take him for granted. I said, why are people so afraid of easy? Easy means there's not drama. Easy means there's not guessing, working, like wondering, what's the other person thinking? It's easy, and it's respectful, and it's loving. I'll take that any day over drama. But I love the drama. I like the drama back in the day because I still needed it. It seems like to heal. So I love that story, and I mean, here we are, 2 people, and we both have had that experience. I imagine that is the dynamic in every single loving, love relationship out there. Do you find that to be true? Is it a real common theme?
Absolutely. Yeah. We all have different details to our stories, but, so often, people are magnetized together, right? Because we have commonalities in our energy, and the base of it ends up being very similar.
I've been talking a little bit around the topic, but the topic of your article is actually the truth about opposites attract, because it's been a cliche, opposites attract. And then I remember thinking, they might attract, but they don't necessarily stick, because if somebody's that opposite for me, do I really want to be with them? Right. But you're talking more about not behavior as much as energy in this article. So say a little bit about the masculine, feminine energy and kind of the dance of all that. And if you want to use your own relationship as an example, that would be great.
Okay. So first, let's just say feminine energy. We all carry masculine and feminine energy, and we all have a different sense of harmony within ourselves that's natural to us. And in general, someone might identify more as the feminine energy and more as the masculine energy. And while feminine masculine energy isn't necessarily man and woman, I will say I, as a woman, identify more in the feminine energy side of things. I definitely have masculine traits that are very strong. And my partner, CJ, definitely identifies more in the masculine energy, but he definitely has his feminine energy too. So feminine energy is that creative energy. It's intuitive. It's inspirational. It's flow. It's nurture. It's compassion. And masculine energy is action oriented. Gets things done. It creates a sense of safety. It creates a sense of logic and order. And if feminine energy didn't have masculine energy kind of creates a container, and if feminine energy didn't have that, it would just be chaotic. Couldn't get things done. I take on too many projects, could never get them done if I didn't have these containers for them. And masculine energy, having the container, if it didn't have feminine energy, it would stay uninspired. It would be, the couch potato, just laying there unfulfilled, not doing anything. So that's where they really work together. But it's about creating that balance and harmony for how they work together. It's so easy for us women to get caught up in our masculine energy, keeping the schedule, making sure the house is running, cooking dinner, we have a job, or, working 9 to 5 and just getting very stuck, and we have to do this, 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 and not getting that time to just relax and have space in your day to allow to go with the flow.
Yeah. I remember somebody, I think it's back when I was first dating Don, and he was in therapy, which I thought was a really great sign. His marriage had ended, and he knew that he had some part in that, and he wanted to learn like what and how could he do it differently next time. And so his therapist, and once we started getting serious, his therapist asked him to bring me in for a session. I think he wanted to make sure I wasn't some, wacko or something, because I'm sure there were times that he probably told him I was, because I was a little unhinged sometimes when the beginning of our relationship. As I mentioned, I had some healing to do. And I remember his therapist kind of looked at us both at one point, and he said, in this relationship, Dawn, if you just let this happen this way, and he said, and you too, Ginny, that he is your ground and you are his connection to life. You are his like bright light, his reason to get out of bed in the morning, because you're right. He could just stay in this little box and not have like an adventurous spirit, or not go, oh, why don't we go do that? Or why don't we? And there was a time when I resented being the person who came up with, why don't we go do that? Why doesn't somebody else come up with an idea? Well, because that's something that my energy allows me to do. I'm not saying that men or anyone with masculine energy can't do that, but it's more of a default position, I think, to not. Do you agree with that? Because you're the relationship expert.
Completely. No, completely. I love that example, because it is so often the woman's like, he doesn't plan anything. He doesn't come up with anything. There's something I really want to do, and he's fine to just sit at home. Actually, I'm going to call me and CJ out right now, because we have this default place where we go to unwind on a patio and just kind of chill. And one night I'm like, I really need to do something different. He was like, why? And I was like, if you got to the end of your life and this was all we did, would you be okay with that? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
We just kind of looked at each other and just kind of nodded in agreement, like, okay. And so it is okay when I do tell him, babe, I really need something different.
Yeah.
And he will ask me if I have something in mind. And if I don't, like, it would be awesome if you could come up with something. And he will step up. If we will give them that leeway, they will step up to the plate. Or if we have something in mind, they love that. They love it when we know what we want to eat for dinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So sometimes we really need that break from knowing what we want to eat for dinner.
I think that's such a great point. And what I'm remembering, and what I know from just talking with women over the years, is that when I wanted that something, let's go do something, and he hadn't come up with that idea, I would resent that he wasn't coming up with the idea. And then I wouldn't even ask. I wouldn't even say, let's go do something, because I'd be all in my pouty place. Yeah. I'm just bearing it all here, but I would be in that pouty kind of, okay, I always have to do that. Well, because I'm the one who wants it. Maybe that's a good idea, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why we have such trouble in intimate relationships just being honest about our needs. But I think there's a lot of fear. There's a lack of trust sometimes, especially in the early days. Are they going to just say no? Are they just going to, and all those old other people who have ever done those certain things, they're still there, like looming their little heads. And that's why it requires a lot of work and a lot of healing, a lot of self-reflection and all that stuff to actually get into those places where you can do it like with ease and grace, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think it's just so much of it is, especially our unhealed feminine energy just really wants that guy who's going to come in and know what all of our needs are and just provide for them, right?
If you love me, you'd know what I need, right?
You know, but we've got to know what we want and need. And actually, you're going to love how this ties together because I'm a December birthday baby. And so growing up, my birthday got missed a lot. It really did. And so when I turned 18, I decided I'm somebody to celebrate. I want birthday parties. And I'm not just going to expect other people to remember it's my birthday. I decided I'm going to take ownership of this. If I want people to celebrate my birthday, then I'm going to make sure they know and I'm going to decide what we're doing and I'm going to invite them. And that's what I started doing for many years. I took ownership of it. So how funny that, we come full circle. I met CJ pretending it was my birthday. But, it is okay for us to say, this is what I want to do and let them know because guys really, they fall into patterns. I feel like more easily that masculine energy will fall into that pattern a lot more so than the feminine energy.
Okay, we could talk about this forever because it's such a fascinating topic, but I do want to throw in one more thing the therapist said, and it was a man. I don't know if I mentioned he was a man. He asked him what he thinks I need from him. And I don't remember what he said. Then he asked me what I need from him. And I don't remember what I said, but I do remember what the therapist said because it was just groundbreaking to me. He turned to Don and he says, "Did you notice she didn't say that she needed you to fix anything?" He said, as little boys, we start learning how to fix things. We fix our chain on our bike when it falls off. We fix, we become fixers. And as we grow into men, we learn how we use tools and we fix things. We learn how to fix our cars, more than women typically do, is what he was saying. He said, so when we're in a relationship and something happens and we can't fix it, we will do one of two things. We either make it unimportant or we'll leave it. And I was like, that blew up my head. That makes sense of every relationship I've ever been in. That fear of that, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to fix it. So I'm just going to pretend like it isn't happening, or I'm going to just get out in my car and take off and I might come back and I might not, Does that make sense? Does that resonate with you?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the masculine and feminine energy thing again there too. I think that, boys, they've all been masculinized too much sometimes to be, that's all we are, is this, this fixer. And I know we had that dance for a bit. It's like, I remember the day I walked into Don's office and says, "I'm going to start a magazine." And he went, "How are you going to do that?" I says, "I have no idea, but I'm not asking for advice. I just wanted to tell you I'm going to start a magazine." Because he would have started going, "Well, I don't know. Are you sure?" All those things, which at times I want to hear that, but I will ask for it when I want to hear that,
Yeah.
And so I think you have to get that dance down and not discount the other person for doing what their default position typically might be, right? Is to fix things and give advice, or to nurture too much, to like hover and, want to, because we can control pretty well and make it look like we're nurturing, can't we?
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Well, and just kind of added to that, men aren't taught that emotions are safe. They're basically taught they can be neutral, maybe a little happy, and they are allowed to get angry. Right? So much of the work is about helping men learn that they actually do have these other emotions. They just weren't taught to tune into. And so you talking about the men who, if I can't fix it, I'm going to ignore it or run away, because there's this stuff going on in there that they weren't taught how to work with.
Right.
Because we all have more than those emotions. And so it's really just about learning to have the tools to navigate it.
Wow. Like I said, we could talk for hours about this. You should probably do a talk show or something. Do you do any kind of a?
People tell me that often. I don't. Sometimes one of my peers, her name is Melody, and she uses a slightly different modality than I do, but she and I will go live and chat a lot. And we're actually launching something together to help people who are single call something in.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So single people, keep in touch with Kandi. You'll know when that is happening. I've enjoyed this so much, and I think the information that you share and the work that you do, because, you know, it doesn't have to be hard. It just has to, it's just going to be different. You just have to learn to do something different, to learn to open ourselves up to seeing things in a different way. And sometimes it requires stripping down and being raw and real and messy and all that stuff. And yeah, the payoff is worth it. But it's hard to see that when you're in the middle of it.
It is. I always come back to when you clean out your garage, it looks messy before it looks put back together.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does. Well, Kandi, tell everyone how they can find out more about what you do and if you have anything special you're offering right now or.
Okay, great. So I know you put my website in the link, I believe, kandileigh.com. So you can go there to learn more about me. You can get a free ebook I have called 5 Habits That Secretly Sabotage Marriage and How to Stop Them.
Nice.
You can also schedule a chat with me where if you're in a relationship or even if you're single, I have a little relationship assessment tool that I can use to help show you where maybe some weaknesses are, strengths are, and what it'd be like to work with me. And to anyone who watches this, if you do want to come check anything out, if you end up signing up for any of my programs or even just trying a Reiki session, if you mention seeing this interview, I will offer you 20% off.
20% off. Wow. Very
Why
generous
not?
of you. Thank you. Before we wrap up, do you have a final word of wisdom? It could be something you said already, but just a thought that you want to leave our viewers with.
Actually, it ties back to where I don't think I fully answered the polarity. Masculine and feminine energy, it's harmony is what attracts like magnets. And so when couples find themselves repelling a little bit, they might be like, especially us feminines, might be taking over some of that masculine energy. And it kind of becomes those magnets, you know, the two north ends pushing each other apart. So when there is conflict being stirred up, usually the best thing we can do is go within and use some tools first and even figure out if it's even anything to address or if you just need to kind of relax, release, like you and I have talked about, get more into that feminine energy. And then the feminine energy always leads the way. So that allows that masculine to come back out in your partner.
Wow. Brilliant advice. Thank you. And that seems a perfect place to close out. So thank you for being with me, Kandi. Thank you for sharing your wisdom in the magazine. Everyone watching this, please check out Kandi's article. You can go back. I think you've done 2 other ones, haven't you? Is it 2 other ones?
Let's see. Yes, the polarity was the second one. So I did one before that on is it love at first sight? Yeah. And then we've got one coming out soon that talks about if it is love, would you be able to recognize it?
Another great article. So that will be coming out on May 1st. So just look for that on the website. And I want to thank everybody for watching and listening to Writer in the Spotlight. I'll see you again.